How to make the drawstring bag from the Wrapped In Style kit. Cutting out. Cut around all the drawstring bag pieces from the panel. You'll need the front outer, the back outer and the top strip. Now place the front outer and the back outer on top of the lining fabric and cut around them. You'll need to provide this yourself as it isn't on the panel. Cut them exactly the same shape. Making the outer and lining. Take the drawstring bag front outer and the back outer and place them right sides facing. Pin together, matching all the raw edges, down the sides, across the bottom and up the other side. Now stitch them together down the side, across the bottom and up the other side. Once that's done, turn it right sides out, then repeat it to make the bag lining in exactly the same way. Now place the lining inside the outer. They need to be wrong sides facing. Push your fingers into the corners to make sure that it's sitting right inside. Then match up the top edges. Start by matching the seams on the sides and pin together. Then match the seam on the other side and pin together. Then pop a pin in at the centre just to make sure that the raw edges stay matching. Once that's done, tack it together around the top, just inside the seam allowance. Making the drawstring frill. Fold the drawstring bag top strip outer in half widthways with right sides facing, matching the raw short side edges. Now take a tape measure and make a mark 1/4 inch up from the bottom edge and make another mark 1/2 inch above this. Now pin together down the sides. I place a pin horizontally at the bottom so that I can stop stitching more easily. You're going to stitch from the top to the first mark and then from the bottom mark to the bottom, leaving that gap there because that's for the casing. Now press the seam open . Then turn the drawstring bag top strip right sides out. And you can see that little gap that you left, that's for where the drawstring will go. Work a top stitch rectangle around that. That will hold the seam allowance flat and make a neater finish too. Attaching the drawstring frill. Place the drawstring frill right sides facing over and around the top of the bag outer. So basically, put the bag outer inside the drawstring frill. Now you need to match up the top edges and the side seam of the drawstring frill where you've done the casing, match that up with the left side seam of the bag outer and then pin it together all the way round. It will fit because it's all been printed and cut precisely to make it fit. Stitch it together all the way around the top edge. When that's done, turn the other long edge under by 1/4 inch to the wrong side and give it a press. Now fold the bag so it's lining sides out. Then turn the top frill over just so that it just overlaps the seam that you did when you joined the lining to the outer. It will just meet up with it. So pin it together where the seam is so that you know it's lying nice and straight. Then fold the frill over and pin it together all the way round. Make sure that the turned under edge of the frill just covers the seam. Pin it together all the way round. Then top stitch in place all the way around the edge. Adding the drawstring. Turn the bag right sides out once it's top stitched. Now mark and measure 1/2 inch above that top seam line where you stitched. That will be level with the top of your casing. You're going to sew along here, so it's easy if you draw a line with an erasable pen first, all the way round, to make sure your stitching is straight. So join it all the way round. Once it's drawn, sew along this line through all the layers. Then take a cord and you need to thread it through the casing. I've attached mine to a bodkin just because I find this easier than a safety pin, because sometimes a safety pin can come undone, but you can use either. Now the casing is 1/2 inch wide, so you don't want anything too wide to go it. This nylon cord is ideal, but you could use narrow ribbon or some string, but just make sure it's quite narrow. Now thread the cord or ribbon all the way through this casing, all the way around through the channel, until it comes out through the other side of the casing. Once it's out, you can remove it from your bodkin or from your safety pin. Then take the two ends of the cord and tie them together in a nice secure knot. Give it a little tug to make sure it's nice and secure, and your drawstring bag is finished. You can put your gift inside, pull the drawstring to close.